Mar-a-Lago is filled with excessive luxury, like $7 million worth of gold decor and a gift shop full of Donald Trump souvenirs. The businessman turned president bought the property for only $5 million in 1985, about 10 times less than what the original owner paid. With membership prices that include a $200,000 initiation fee, the ultra-exclusive club has made more than $20 million a year since Trump took office. Now, the Secret Service is planning his life after the presidency, which includes renovating the club so they can officially move in. Here's a look inside the luxurious Mar-a-Lago and the incredibly wealthy history behind the now famous estate. What is it really like to live like Donald Trump? He's lived in the White House, numerous penthouses, and multiple mansions, but no property is more famous and more representative of his opulent lifestyle and extravagant taste than this exclusive beachfront country club. Mar-a-Lago is a 128-room mansion in Palm Beach, Florida, located on 20 acres of lush waterfront property. It actually spans the width of the entire island it's located on. Originally built in 1927 by wealthy serial heiress Marjorie Merriweather Post, Donald Trump forked over $5 million for the property back in 1985. By 1995, he turned the estate into a full-fledged and ultra-exclusive club modeled after European palaces. Trump nicknamed the property Winter White House, which is fitting since Post had originally wanted her estate to be used as a seasonal retreat for sitting presidents. The resort is now estimated to be worth between $200 million and $300 million, thanks in large to Trump's luxurious taste and extensive renovations, and the fact that it's huge. It has 58 bedrooms and 33 bathrooms. One of the first things Trump did to the mansion after buying it was build a 20,000 square foot ballroom with $7 million worth of gold leaf decorations. He married Melania in this ballroom and often references the wedding's famous guests, like his political opponent Hillary Clinton. Trump's love for gold doesn't stop there, though. He also spent about $100,000 on 4 gold-plated sinks and decorated the mansion's many rooms with lots of chandeliers, 16th century Flemish tapestries, and unique Oriental rugs. There's also an expensive 1927 Steinway baby grand piano worth somewhere between $70,000 and $150,000. Even the formal dining table is pure art. The grand dining room emulates Rome's Chigi Palace. Trump also adapted a coat of arms for his family thanks to all the expensive furniture and antiques he bought with the estate. He commandeered the coat of arms, which once belonged to Joseph Edward Davies, Post's third husband, and had the Latin word for integrity replaced with Trump. Another perk to the property is that it's a quick helicopter ride away from Trump International Golf Club, also in Palm Beach. To pay for all this, Trump has made sure Mar-a-Lago only attracts the richest guests. To get them interested in the resort, he built a ton of useful amenities on the property, including a spa, beach club, and tennis and croquet courts. To make them really want to come, he made sure only the wealthiest could afford the costs. Club members used to pay a $100,000 initiation fee, plus annual dues of $14,000 for access to the estate. That price doesn't even include taxes and the minimum annual cost of food that each guest has to spend at the club, which is $2,000. Following Trump's presidential victory, Mar-a-Lago's initiation fee quickly went up to $200,000, but the increase seems to have been worth it. Mar-a-Lago has been fairly profitable over the years. Trump made about $15.6 million from the club in 2014, but after he became president, the annual revenue went up to about $25.2 million in 2017, before dipping a bit to $21.4 million in 2019. The club is also worth it for the guests. With membership, they gain access to luxurious pools, beaches, dining halls, and private lounges. They can also rent out entire rooms, like that glorious ballroom, for private events like weddings and charity galas. Trump has also used the club for his own presidential events and retreats. He's hosted world leaders at the resort, like Chinese President Xi Jinping, and treated them to extravagant dinners and parties. According to the Government Accountability Office, Trump's trips to Mar-a-Lago in 2017 cost taxpayers at least $13.6 million, while all the trips throughout his whole presidency may have cost them more than $60 million. The amount of money Trump has made from the property is mostly the result of the amazing deal he managed to score when he first bought it in 1985, for about 10 times less than what was originally spent building it. To understand how Mar-a-Lago has become so famous, let's take a quick look at the building's extremely rich history. Mar-a-Lago's original owner was Marjorie Merriweather Post. She was once the wealthiest woman in America, with a net worth of about $200 million near the end of her life, which is about $1.5 billion today when adjusted for inflation. This incredible wealth came from her inheriting the profitable Postum cereal company from her father after he passed away in 1914. Soon after his passing, she started building Mar-a-Lago with specific ideas of what luxury should look like, which included lots of art, gold accents, and an extensive library. Once construction was completed, she had spent about $7 million on the property, which is equal to more than $120 million today. Mar-a-Lago has always been extremely extravagant, thanks to the big names Post hired to work on the property. American architect Marion Sims Wyeth handled the design of the estate, while Viennese designer Joseph Urban, who also worked on a number of royal palaces in Europe, did the interior design. Some of the mansion's most striking characteristics were the black and white marble floor blocks, on which there were 2,200. Post also had a collection of 36,000 Spanish tiles dating back to the 15th century and 20,000 roofing tiles that came from a Cuban castle. The gold leaf-covered living room ceiling is one of the estate's most famous features and was inspired by a ceiling in the Accademia of Venice. Mrs. Post was so extra that while living there, she even had circus performers providing entertainment at all of her big parties. In 1973, Post decided to donate her prized mansion to the U.S. government to be used as the president's winter White House. But in 1981, the government returned it, citing the $1 million annual maintenance cost as the reason why. Instead, they decided to declare it an historic landmark. Donald Trump reportedly coveted the mansion for a while and made a generous first offer of about $28 million, but he was turned down since the estate was technically a piece of protected history. But eventually, Trump ended up getting extremely lucky. When the market slumped, he managed to get his hands on the property for only $5 million, which is about $12 million today. He paid an additional $3 million, $7.2 million today, for all of Post's antiques and furniture. From there, Trump quickly went to work on the renovations, keeping Post's opulent style while adding his own touches, like a glamorous gold-framed portrait of himself. Mar-a-Lago has long been one of the places everyone wants a chance to explore, but unless you have a membership, you aren't getting any farther than the gates. With its rich history, it's believed that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of interesting antiques and secrets hidden inside the mansion that have yet to be explored. Anthony Senecal was Trump's former butler and also served as Mar-a-Lago's unofficial historian, and in 2016, he revealed a couple of these secrets. He said that the library is full of century-old books, including rare first editions, that he never saw any of the Trumps reading. He's also talked about how the Trump family kept mostly to their private wing of the residence, where Trump's children grew up. Another big secret is what exactly the Secret Service will do on the property once Trump is no longer president. U.S. presidents receive protection even after they leave office, so a few Secret Service agents will be following him to his Mar-a-Lago pad, which he's named his official residence. Renovations are apparently underway to make a Secret Service appropriate wing, though they can't give away any information on what exactly that entails for security reasons. To give you an idea how much it might cost, keep in mind that while president, Trump charged the Secret Service for rooms at his club, which came to about $650 a night per room. It's expected that Trump could easily add $1 million worth of renovations to the mansion to make it Secret Service appropriate and to amp up its security protections. It might be a bit hard to keep the former president protected at all times, though, since guests are constantly wandering the property and enjoying all the luxuries it has to offer. The mansion has been described as a palace, and as such, there are also a lot of rooms and space to cover when it comes to ensuring proper protection. While Mar-a-Lago is famous for many reasons, some of them are a bit controversial, though they mostly have to do with Trump's urge to keep his estate as grand and exclusive as possible. His specific taste has led Trump into having his fair share of fights with Palm Beach over the county's property rules. In 2006, his 80-foot-tall American flagpole violated Palm Beach ordinances and was incurring a fine of $250 a day. Trump sued for $25 million,
claiming his free speech was being violated by the county's rule.
They eventually came to an agreement, though, and the flag was moved to a 70-foot-tall pole while Trump donated $100,000 to veterans charities instead of paying the fines. But in 2015, Trump sued Palm Beach County again, this time over airspace. He said that the county was making deliberate and malicious moves to direct departing flights from the Palm Beach International Airport right over Mar-a-Lago. The suit was dropped after the 2016 election, since the residence is now a no-fly zone for security reasons. It may continue that way after he moves back into the mansion, though it's possible another lawsuit will be necessary to keep the club quiet enough for Trump and his guests to enjoy. So Mar-a-Lago might not be all sunshine and rainbows, but it's safe to say that the opulent property has attracted America's curiosity, with its extravagant extravagant decor and even more extravagant membership prices, it's hard to say whether or not the club's revenue will increase or decrease following Trump's presidency. Trump has been known to take a very active stance on the club's operations, always asking guests what they enjoyed and what the staff can do better next time. It's entirely possible that his being back at the club will improve its services even more and perhaps attract more guests interested in joining a club owned by a former American president who also lives there. One thing's for sure though, Trump got himself a bargain for this historic mansion, and there are likely more secrets and priceless artifacts behind its doors that we may never even know about. Would you join Mar-a-Lago if you could? Or how about pay for an in-depth tour?
In 2019, Drake made number 5 on Forbes' list of the richest rappers, and he was the youngest on the list by 10 years. The Toronto-born hip-hop star has found success hard and fast, and he likes to live his life the same way. Between jetting off in his private plane, endorsing the Raptors, running OVO, and spoiling his son, Drake has found lots of uses for his $150 million net worth. His latest expense is a $100 million custom-designed compound called the Embassy. You know you're curious about how Drake spends his fortune, so let's dive right in and find out.
In the middle of Hackney hustling, it could be in music, you could be building houses, you could be doing whatever, but
Drake's private compound in Bridle Path, Toronto is built to give the superstar some privacy. The rapper even got special permission from the city of Toronto to build the fences around his house twice the legal height. And he also shelled out about $1 million for tall trees to put around the property. It's no wonder that the private neighborhood, which has housed celebrities like Celine Dion and even Prince, is called Millionaire's Row. But why wouldn't you want top-notch security at a brand new luxury mansion nicknamed the Embassy? Once you get past those fences, Drake's new home welcomes you with lavish materials like limestone, wood, and bronze. But the 50,000 square foot custom mansion isn't meant to just look nice. It's supposed to be practical too, which is why Drake and architect Ferris Rafali designed it with some of the rapper's favorite hobbies in mind. The home has an NBA regulation-sized indoor basketball court, so that Drake and his friends can get in a quick game of ball before they head to his private recording studio. The studio comes complete with a cozy lounge decorated with some of Drake's favorite action figures. And that's not the only impressive collection Drake has. He has an entire room called the Awards Room, where he displays all of his achievements. And just off of that, he has a hallway devoted to his collection of sports jerseys. After a hard day of work, Drake can relax and entertain friends in the Great Room. With its 44-foot-high ceilings and tons of room to kick back, the Great Room also holds 2 of the most expensive pieces of decor in the entire house. The first is a Bossendorfer bespoke grand piano, designed by his architect Ferris Rafali and Takashi Murakami. In the US, a Bossendorfer can cost anywhere between $756,000 to $560,000. So Drake probably spent a good amount of his decor budget on this statement piece. The second epic piece of decor is a replica of the Metropolitan chandelier. Over 20,000 pieces of hand-cut Swarovski crystal make up the grand chandelier, which is the second largest of its kind in the world. But despite the luxury, Drake would much rather spend his time in his 3,200 square foot master bedroom suite. We know you'd love to kick back in that bed, but just wait until you get a look at the in-suite bedroom. The centerpiece of the epic bathroom is probably that 4,000-pound tub of black marble. It was carved from one single block of marble, making it one of the most unique pieces in Drake's house. It goes well with the eloquently epic 2-story closet. We haven't gotten a very good look inside this massive closet, but Drake told Architectural Digest that it was designed with raw luxury materials like amethyst, rock crystal, and even diamond. The entire master suite is surrounded by 1,100 square feet of covered terraces, so that even chilly Toronto winters don't keep him cooped up inside the house. But for some real relaxation, Drake doesn't just sit on his terrace. For some much-needed R&R, the star can retire to one of his 2 saunas, spend an hour in the massage room, or take a dip in his indoor or outdoor pool. The indoor pool is made of black granite and has a black light, so Drake can change up the room's atmosphere for any occasion. Atmosphere seems pretty important to Drake, since he also has a high-tech singing toilet outfitted with customizable neon lighting. When it's time to go out, Drake has a 10-car garage waiting for him where he stores all of his expensive vehicles. But we'll talk more about his car collection a little bit later. It's hard to believe that all this luxury is in only one of Drake's properties. The star also owns 3 homes in Hidden Hills, California, a luxury neighborhood that's also home to a few of the Kardashians. The first is a $4.5 million, 2,449 square foot ranch. Drake bought the 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathrooms property with the intention of pairing it with some other nearby homes to form an estate. In 2012, he bought a $7.7 million home nearby, and then a 1950s-style ranch for $2.8 million. Drake, who just seems to love naming his properties, calls this one the YOLO Estate. The pride and joy of this trio of properties is the $7.7 million home that Drake bought because it reminded him of the Playboy Mansion. It's because of this epic pool, complete with a waterfall and a grotto. The home also has tons of activities, like a home gym, tennis court, movie theater, and game room. Do you prefer Drake's LA estate to his Toronto digs? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Drake's a fan of luxury transport, but he's not always speeding around in sports cars. Instead, his favorite mode of transportation is his $185 million custom private plane. The Boeing 767-300F was recently given a makeover by Louis Vuitton designer Virgil Abloh, and now rocks a blue exterior with painted clouds. When it comes to cars, though, Drake is a collector. No wonder he needs so much room in his garage. One of his most impressive vehicles is a rare Bugatti Veyron Sang-Noir for $3.4 million. Only 12 were ever built. Rare vehicles seems to be a pretty big theme in Drake's car collection. He also has a Mercedes-Maybach G650, of which only 99 were ever made. Drake is the only person to own one in all of North America. He also managed to get his hands on a rare Mercedes Pullman worth $600,000. And he owns the very last Maybach 62S Landaulet that was ever built. This particular collector's car is estimated to have cost the singer over $1 million. Drake also has a few more practical cars that he's been seen rolling around in. One of his favorites might be his Ferrari LaFerrari, which he purchased for over $1 million. Another is his Lamborghini Aventador, which cost $400,000 and is estimated to have a top speed of 217 miles an hour. The rapper also has a DeVille 16 worth $2.2 million, a Rolls-Royce Dawn worth $400,000, and a few other classic luxury vehicles. His garage also contains a Lamborghini Gallardo, a Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren, a Bentley Continental GTC, and a McLaren 675 LT. Oof, that's a lot of cars to have to choose between every day. Which of Drake's many vehicles do you want to drive the most? Let us know in the comments. If there's anything Drake loves as much as collecting cars, it's collecting shoes, watches, and clothing. Drake's fashion sense has cost the singer millions in his unique and trendy pieces. One of the standouts is his $750,000 Richard Mille watch. Backstage at the O2 Arena in 2019, he showed off his luxury watch and the rest of his outfit, including an $11,000 Brioni jacket, a Tom Ford outfit worth $18 grand, and a custom diamond chain worth $200,000. The basketball fan also has been spotted at Raptors games with a $600,000 Patek Philippe watch and a custom Raptors championship ring. The rare rose gold watch is made with a total of 1,343 diamonds. Drake also has a thing for shoes and handbags. You've definitely seen the rapper rocking classic and rare kicks, like the not-yet-released Air Jordan 1 High OG Dior sneakers that he showed off in a sneak peek of his closet. But these $2,000 shoes aren't even the star of the show. He also has a pair of bright yellow Jordan 5 Retro Tokyo T23 kicks, which would sell for over $5,000 today. Drake also has an impressive collection of vintage Nike shoes honoring the late and great Kobe Bryant. In total, experts estimate his collection to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But Drake also likes collecting Hermes Birkin bags. These expensive bags aren't for him. He's actually been collecting them for years as a gift to his future wife. One of his most expensive pieces is a Hermes Himalaya Birkin valued between $100,000 and $400,000 US dollars. Drake does a lot more than just music to be able to afford this kind of luxurious living. For starters, he co-owns OVO, October's Very Own, which is a company that encompasses his record label, clothing line, and radio station. In 2019, he made about $50 million in profit off of his clothing line alone. Drake is also an ambassador for his favorite sports team, the NBA's Toronto Raptors. He started the massively popular We the North campaign in partnership with the team. He's even hinted at his desire to buy the team one day, which seems 100% possible as the rapper continues to grow his fortune. But Drake doesn't keep every bit of money for himself. After all, he started at the bottom. His passion for sports has led him to donate $3 million in partnership with the Raptors to Toronto and Canadian basketball teams in order to make playing more affordable. And you cannot forget the $1 million that he gave away to fans during the filming of the God's Plan music video. The $1 million in cash was supposed to be the budget for the video, but Drake had better ideas of how it could be spent. Drake has the money to spare, since he reportedly makes up to $2 million per night while on tour. His fortune has convinced him to start branching out on other investments. Recently, he became an investor in the tech company Omni. Even though Drake will probably continue to invest in the future, his goal has always been to build his own empire. He even has his own luxury line of champagne called Mod Selection, which costs between $300 and $400 a bottle. Let us know in the comments if there's anything in particular you would love to see Drake get in on next. Drake does have a brand new venture, the likes of which he's never done before. He's become a father. His son Adonis was just recently introduced to the world after rapper Pusha T let it slip that Drake really did have a kid. And Adonis is definitely growing up to love the finer things in life. Can you blame him when his father's house looks like something out of a fairy tale? In a rare sneak peek into his son's life, Drake and Sophie shared some photos of Adonis's lavish second birthday party. They decked out the rapper's home with gold balloons and lots of decorations featuring what seemed to be Adonis's favorite character, Cookie Monster. We've also got a sneak peek at Adonis's love for art and the mini luxury car that he loves to drive around in. It seems like Drake really is following his motto of family over everything. With over 20 years in the entertainment business and hundreds of millions of records sold, Eminem is an undeniable industry powerhouse. And his bank balance agrees. Despite edging toward a net worth of $250 million, Marshall Mathers doesn't splurge like your average A-lister. He hasn't pampered himself with private islands or forked out for exclusive Manhattan penthouses. Slim prefers to keep it simple and stay true to his hometown Detroit, where he lives a little more under the radar. How did the rapper make all his money? How does he spend it? And what's life like inside the Eminem household? Let's find out. The majority of famous faces, be them movie stars, pop stars, or entertainment personalities, typically make the move over to Los Angeles and buy themselves a snazzy mansion up in the Hollywood Hills. Well, Eminem isn't like most celebrities, and if you're familiar with his ever-divisive music and intriguing topsy-turvy backstory, then you'll know exactly what we mean. Though he was born in St. Joseph, Missouri in 1972, Eminem spent most of his childhood growing up in Michigan, yup, we all know it, Detroit. This is where he got his big break in the rap world. This is where the inspiration comes from for countless record-breaking songs, and this is where M's chosen to buy his properties and put down roots. Even through adulthood and fame, the multiple award-winning artist has owned 2 sizable pads in the Motor City over the last couple of decades. What do you say? Shall we take an exclusive look? It's not every day you get to experience the inner sanctum of a celebrity. Eminem's most extravagant property sits over in the upper-class suburb of Rochester Hills. Rochester Hills is considered one of the safest cities in the state, a stark contrast from his youth where he and his mother hopped around areas often riddled with violence. The compound is heavily secure and therefore perfect for someone with such a high level of notoriety. Sprawling 17,500 square feet, Eminem's home on Winkler offers up a list of features extravagant enough to make anyone jealous. The home includes 6 bedrooms and 9.5 bathrooms, and each bedroom is a suite fit for a king. Don't believe us? Just take a look for yourself. Even the multi-$1,000 entranceway with its wooden design is spectacular. As we move from inside to the outside, the experience gets even better. This stunning swimming pool, worth tens of thousands of dollars alone, is equipped with a twisting slide and a flowing waterfall. Plus, there's a spa, tennis and basketball court, cabana, and a private pond. Notably, the home has a dedicated spot for security, listing a so-called guardhouse as an extra selling point. On top of that, there's a nearly 4,000 square foot garage perfect for storing all of his lavish supercars, but we'll get to those a little later. The huge property is also known as the Kmart Mansion, not because it's furnished with Kmart goodies, but because its former owner was Charles Conaway, the company's former chairman. Oh, and did we forget to mention that there's an entire guest house on the property with its own game room as well? Sitting on land that spans 5.69 manicured acres or almost 250,000 square feet, there was plenty more room to play with if Eminem wanted to add a few extra finishing touches. Unfortunately, he no longer has that chance. He signed on the dotted line back in 2003 for $4.8 million, around $5.6 million by today's standards, and held onto it for the better part of 15 years. But in August of 2017, he listed the house for sale, with a price of just under $2 million. Why he slashed the asking price by such a significant margin is still uncertain. Around the same time that M went out and purchased the Rochester Hills pad, he acquired another Detroit mansion. The home at 19766 Westchester Drive was built in 1996. and boasts over 8,900 square feet of space. And it became Marshall's for a hefty fee of $1,483,500. Visitors approach the mostly brick mansion via a large driveway and are met with a subtle yet eye-catching few $1,000 fountain upon arrival. At the time of its purchase, he was still married to his now ex-wife, Kimberly Scott. Sure, $1.5 million is expensive for the area, but these kinds of properties in places like LA or New York could easily be worth 10 times as much. Even though the rapper owned the nearby Rochester Hills home, which was larger, he tended to spend the majority of his time here. As of February of 2019, Zillow estimated the value of Eminem's Clinton Township home at just under $1.8 million. It's certainly a step up from the comparatively cramped spaces in which he spent his earlier years. If you're a fan of Eminem, then you've surely seen the 8 Mile movie. Did you know that it's named after 8 Mile Road, near which the budding young lyricist grew up? South of 8 Mile Road, at 19946 Dresden Street in the suburb of Greenbrier, you'll find Slim Shady's childhood home. Compared to the colossal mansions that we've already seen, this small, wooden, 767-square-foot single-family home isn't much to gloat about. Public records show that Eminem's mother purchased the house for $19,900 in 1987, and it wasn't worth more than $30,000 or $40,000 by the mid-2010s. While Eminem doesn't own it, and hasn't lived within its walls for years, it remains a significant piece of his history, and is also considered a significant piece of Eminem memorabilia. The divisive rapper has clearly managed to turn it around since his time on Dresden Street. These days, his trophy room alone, jam-packed with Grammys, MTV Awards, and even an Oscar, would rival his entire childhood home in terms of size. It wasn't just hard for Eminem in the early days, it was hard for his family too, especially his daughter Haley, who grew up witnessing her parents' tumultuous relationship. Fast forward to today, and Haley is thriving. She's no longer living under someone else's roof and has acquired her very own 4-bedroom house in Detroit, which she shares with her adorable Shiba Inu pup named Lottie. When Haley was asked if she sees her father often and if he's supportive, she said, quote, "Of course, we are very close. Whether or not he's the one who paid for her house, though, remains unclear." Hold up, let's rewind for a second. How did this lonely kid that was bullied in school transition into a world-famous artist free to buy any mansion he pleases? His first album, called Infinite, only sold 1,000 copies, but he kept making music, eventually gaining attention after finishing in second place at the 1997 Rap Olympics in Los Angeles. From there, he caught the eye of Dr. Dre, and the rest is history. Fast forward to today, and Eminem has established himself as one of the most commercially successful rappers of all time, with over 100 million albums sold worldwide. That equates to pockets that are over $210 million deep. A lot of this money goes back into his business, Shady Records, which rents its headquarters out in New York, while other portions of his wealth go to all kinds of lavish purchases. M grew up reading comics, and before he found his passion for music, he dreamed of being a comic book artist himself. While that career path didn't exactly work out, the love for the art never faded. Wherever he goes, Eminem expects his staff to ensure that there are always plenty of comic books on hand to keep him busy during his travels. It's believed that he has spent around $16,000 on retro arcade games like Donkey Kong and Space Invaders, and far more on traditional limited edition comic books. According to one of the guys Eminem works with at Shady Records, the rapper's most valuable comic is Amazing Fantasy number 15, in which Peter Parker and Spider-Man make their first appearance. In good condition, these are worth from $500,000 to upwards of $1 million. To call Slim Shady a fashionista, well, that'd be just flat out wrong. While he has sported the tux on the odd occasion, for the most part, this rapper is seen in baggy sweats, oversized hoodies, and comfy kicks. But there is one accessory that M's not afraid to throw a little bit of money at: his wristwear. Preferring to keep his watches clean and classic, he's been snapped wearing various Rolexes and an odd assortment of G-Shocks throughout his career. His first Rolex was no spur-of-the-moment purchase. It was a self-reward for all his hard work. And before he splurged thousands of dollars, he had the responsible foresight to call up his manager to make sure that he could actually afford it. Since then, his collection has grown tenfold, with a yellow gold Audemars Piguet Royal Oak piece worth over $40,000 becoming a recent accessory of choice. In several publicity photo shoots, he has sported a Rolex Datejust, which can fetch tens of thousands of dollars, as well as the luxurious Rolex President Day Date, which is also around the $30,000 to $40,000 mark. With so much money to burn, it makes sense that rumors have flooded in over the years suggesting that the legendary rapper owns his personal private jet. It wouldn't be much of a surprise. A lot of rappers, some of whom are far less famous and have far shallower pockets, have their own personal wings. Champagne Pappy, Diddy, Nicki Minaj, and Snoop Dogg, just to name a few. Despite his industry peers choosing to own, Eminem takes a different approach: renting. The reality is that owning a depreciating asset isn't always the smartest financial decision. And what's the use of having a multi-million-dollar metal bird sitting in the backyard most of the time unused? Slim just charters a private plane whenever the need arises. For a low-cost private jet service, expect to shell out between $1,300 and $3,000 per flying hour. For the more lavish, jam-packed with all the amenities you can imagine, the bill can easily exceed $10 grand. While there may not be any personal jets in the garage, the list of out-of-this-world hypercars in his collection is enough to make any petrolhead's jaw drop. Over his tenure at the top of the charts, Slim Shady's been spotted cruising around in everything from a $400,000 Lamborghini Aventador to a nearly $200,000 Porsche 911 GT3 RS. Throw in the Ferrari 430 Scuderia, McLaren NP412C, and the Audi R8 Spider, each valued between $150 and $350K, and you start to get a better understanding of the kind of extravagance that once sat in the Rochester Mansion's 4,000-square-foot garage. Those exotic supercars are the perfect partners to the many workhorse vehicles he owns, like the Cadillac Escalade and the Hummer H2. Based on this photo, however, his pride and joy is the Dodge Super B. The company produced these old-school cars from 1968 until 1971, and then brought them back decades later in 2007. Bet your bottom dollar that the one in Eminem's collection is a 1970 classic. If you woke up tomorrow rich and famous, would you stay in your own hometown like Eminem did, or would you move somewhere else? If so, where? Let us know in the comments.
Tiger Woods' Florida mansion is a hole-in-one. The $57 million property is the perfect place for Tiger to relax and perfect his game. Even the world's most impressive sports complexes are dwarfed by the sheer size of Tiger's Florida compound. On the grounds, you'll find a 4-hole golf course complete with 6 bunkers, as well as a basketball court, lap pool, diving pool, and tennis court. The 5-time Masters champion can work on his swing and short game in complete privacy, as his property is located on the ultra-exclusive Jupiter Island, which is home to only 907 residents. Here's a look at Tiger Woods' incredible $57 million estate. Tiger Woods' stunning mansion on Jupiter Island is one of the most innovative mansions you'll ever set your eyes on. The golf phenom purchased the 12-acre property in 2006 for $40 million, and today his sprawling estate is worth about $57 million. The sale broke records and marked the most expensive real estate deal on Jupiter Island at the time. Tiger's Florida getaway is so valuable because he spent years building a mansion that would make just about anyone jealous. Shortly after his divorce from Ellen Nordgren in 2010, Woods got to work on his dream home. He had the old mansion, yeah, that dump, that was on the property torn down, and replaced it with a modern marvel. Tiger's mansion consists of 2 main buildings, a 3,300 square foot living area and a 6,000 square foot multi-purpose building. These buildings are connected via a glass-covered walkway and a series of underground tunnels. That's weird and awesome at the same time. A promenade with elegant palm trees and rare flowers sits between both buildings. On the grounds of Tiger's compound, you'll also find a boathouse, guest house, detached garage, and of course, a golf studio. Playing 18 holes can really work up an appetite. No, it can't, but we'll say it does. So when Tiger gets hungry, he heads over to his restaurant. The Woods Jupiter is not too far from his estate. If you were hoping to move in next door to Tiger, you're probably out of luck. Jupiter Island is one of the most exclusive areas in the entire state of Florida. The reason why so few people live there is because house prices are astronomical. The average home price in the town is $5,104,400. Tiger isn't the only celebrity that lives on the posh island. Celine Dion, Kid Rock, Olivia Newton-John, and country singer Alan Jackson all own homes in the area. Tiger isn't even the only sports legend on the island. Fellow golfer Greg Norman has a home on the island too. Even Michael Jordan has a mansion on the island. And like Tiger, Jordan owns a restaurant nearby. Jupiter Island is known for having the highest median home sale price and the highest per capita income of anywhere in the United States. Tiger's massive Florida mansion is more luxurious than a 5-star hotel. Its interior is a sight to behold. It's hard to believe that Tiger spends so much time on the golf course when he has a mansion this nice. The living area of Tiger's mansion consists of 3 bedroom suites and a huge master bedroom. No doubt the master bedroom has more than enough closet space for Tiger's 5 green jackets. There are fireplaces scattered throughout this section of the mansion, and the decor is gorgeous. One of the most elegant rooms in the mansion is the sitting room, which features a large sectional sofa adorned with gold throw pillows. A large spiral staircase leads to the upper level of the mansion. The multi-purpose side of Tiger's mansion is where all the fun happens. He probably throws some epic parties here. This is also where Tiger lifts weights and relaxes. His state-of-the-art gym is filled with free weights, weight machines, and other high-end exercise equipment. Tiger is worth about $800 million, so he can certainly afford to have a Peloton in his home gym. Spending a day on the links can be very exhausting, so that's why Tiger has an oxygen therapy room in his mansion. Tiger's private cinema has a wall-to-wall movie screen, and he can play some video games in his epic basement games room. In case you were wondering, Tiger's favorite video game is Call of Duty. That might come as a surprise considering he's typically very zen when he's on the fairway. The multi-purpose area of Tiger's mansion even has an elevator, but we suspect he prefers to take the stairs so he can stay in shape. Golfers need to be in peak physical condition. Don't let John Daly fool you. Most professional golfers are slim, trim, and muscular. Tiger Woods' workout routine is the stuff of legend. Aside from hitting the links, Tiger lifts weights, jogs, swims, and plays tennis. He also enjoys shooting hoops. Fortunately, Tiger doesn't have to leave his cage to work out. The backyard of his estate is filled with sports facilities. There's a 100-foot single-lane swimming pool directly behind the living area of his mansion, and there's also a 60-foot diving pool right behind the mansion's multi-purpose building. After swimming laps, Tiger can soak his sore muscles in the jacuzzi, which is directly connected to the diving pool. There's also a small patio area right by the diving pool where Tiger can chill and soak up some sun. Between the lap pool and living area, you'll find a running track where Tiger can do some sprints to get his heart rate up. Tiger's basketball court and his tennis court are both right behind the diving pool and surrounded by the tall palm trees. The trees offer plenty of shade, so Tiger won't suffer heat exhaustion or be blinded by the sun while trying to sink a jump shot. The coolest thing about Tiger's backyard is that it doubles as a golf course. It may not be 18 holes, but Tiger can still work on his swing and short game. There are 4 holes and 6 bunkers on Tiger's course. Yes, even Tiger gets stuck in a sand trap from time to time. Tiger even has his own driving range, as he can hit balls from the 2nd story of his golf studio right onto the course. How cool is that? The golf course leads to the oceanfront side of Tiger's property. Here you'll find a secluded dock and small private beach. A thick barrier of trees surrounds Tiger's mansion and golf course, so he doesn't have to worry about an errant ball hitting his stunning $20 million yacht when it's docked in the marina. We should all have these problems. Tiger's Florida mansion is undoubtedly his coolest property, but the golf legend has owned a number of lavish mansions over the years. Tiger owned a phenomenal mansion in Orlando, but he sold the property to fellow PGA member Bubba Watson in 2013 for $2.2 million. The mansion includes a movie theater, 7 bedrooms, a wet bar, 2-story patio, and a guest house. Watson sold the mansion in 2016 for $4.2 million. As you can see, house prices can rise very quickly in hot real estate markets. Woods doesn't just buy fancy mansions for himself, he treats his family very well too. In 2007, he bought land for his mother Tida close to his Jupiter Island mansion. Woods reportedly bought $2.4 million worth of land, so it's very likely he built his mother a dream home of her own. Tiger didn't forget about his dad. He bought his father a $1.31 million home in Orlando back in 2010. Woods is also part owner of the palatial Albany Resort in the Bahamas. The magnificent oceanside resort community sits on 600 acres of pristine oceanside land and has a wealth of amenities including an equestrian center, spa, water park, 71-berth marina, and 18-hole championship golf course. Tiger sunk $100 million into the resort, so it's no wonder it has such an upscale golf course. Other high-profile Albany investors include Justin Timberlake and 2-time U.S. Open champion Ernie Els. Albany's par 72, 7,400-yard golf course was actually designed by Els, so maybe it's not exactly fair when he had Tiger play a friendly game in the Bahamas. It might just be the only place that Ernie can beat Tiger. He's finished second to Woods 7 times on the PGA Tour. After a heated competition, the Big Easy and Tiger can hit up the golf clubhouse and grill for a bite to eat while they reminisce about their PGA rivalry. Albany also features first-class practice facilities, including a 400-yard driving range, short game area with chipping and putting greens, and a cutting-edge swing performance center. You don't have to be as skilled as Tiger or Ernie to enjoy Albany's golf course. Golfers of all ages and skill levels can enjoy private lessons and clinics. Did you know that Tiger Woods once owned his own private island in Sweden? The 62-acre island sits smack dab in the middle of Lake Mälaren, just outside of Stockholm, and includes a private golf course, hunting lodge, miles of rocky shoreline, and many acres of untouched wilderness. The island even has its own landing strip suitable for small planes. Tiger sold the island shortly after his divorce, and it was recently put on the market again for $7.1 million. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to this channel for more great videos.